Prabhuji.
You're
So
actually live right now. You're actually live.
okay, it's asking me to log in into the Facebook account.
So it should be okay, Prabhu.
Sorry, Prabhuji. I will go ahead and log in and see.
So it should be fine actually, but let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, Prabhu, you're on YouTube, Prabhu. You're on YouTube live.
One second, Prabhuji. Wait. Is your health okay, Prabhuji? You sound like you're having very heavy
Having
cold.
to your throat. So, yeah.
Sorry, Prabhuji. Okay, so. Oh, I am live. Okay. All right. Good.
Yes.
Okay, Prabhuji. Then I'll start sharing my screen. Okay. Okay. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to today's Sunday Bhagavatam class. So today we are going to discuss from chapter 14, from Canto 1 and verse number 14. The chapter is titled Disappearance of Lord Krishna. We'll sing Jaya Radha Madhav first and then begin. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Welcome everyone to today's Srimad Bhagavatam discussion. So today is a very auspicious day. There are many Mahabhagavat eternal associates of the Lord, their appearance and disappearance days. So Shri Pundarik Vidyanidhi, Shri Raghunandan Thakur, Srila Raghunath Goswami, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's disappearance, and Srimati Vishnupriya Devi's appearance day. And today happens to be Vasant Panchami as well. So we'll seek the blessings of all these eternal associates of the Lord, and help us grow in our devotional path. So we'll start today's discussion. Okay, so the verses from Canto 1, chapter 14, verse 14. Mrityudutah kapotoyam ulukah kampayan manah pratyulukascha kuhvanair vishvam vai shunyam ichatah. Mrityudutah kapotoyam ulukah kampayan manah pratyulukascha kuhvanair vishvam vai shunyam ichatah. Mrityudutah kapotoyam ulukah kampayan manah pratyulukascha kuhvanair vishvam vai shunyam ichatah. Would anyone like to recite?
Can I? Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Jaya Srila Prabhupada ki Jaya. 1.14.14. Vidyudutah kapotoyam lukah kampayan manaha pratyulukasa cha kuhavanair vishwam vai sunyam ichatah. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
मृत्युदुताकपोतोऽयं मुलुककम्पयन्मना प्रत्युल्लूकश्च कुह्वनैर्विश्वं वै शून्यमिच्छता.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Okay, thank you. Synonyms. Mrityu, death. Dutaha, messenger of death. Kapotaha, pigeon. Ayam, this. Ulukaha, owl. Kampayan, trembling. Manaha, mind. Pratyulukaha, the rivals of owls, crows. Cha, and Kukhvanahi, shrieking scream. Vishwam, the cosmos. Vai, either. Shunyam, void. Ichataha, wishing. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Just see, this pigeon is like a messenger of death. The shrieks of the owls and their rival crows make my heart tremble. It appears that they want to make a void of the whole universe. So there is no purport for this verse. Actually, there is no purport till verse 28. So I'll just start the discussion based on this particular verse alone. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Okay. So since we are in this part of the Bhagavatam where Maharaj Yudhishthir, he's seeing so many bad omens, and he's describing to his brother Bhim that there are many bad omens which are appearing, and it looks like Lord Shri Krishna has might have left the world and gone to his pastime. So this is the part that we are discussing, and the little recap, the bird's eye view of this whole section is that in the first canto, the Shaunakadi Rishis, they ask about, tell us about Maharaj Parikshit in the chapter 4 actually. So then, he starts discussing about how Maharaj Parikshit was born, and before talking about how he got coronated, he took a diversion and started talking about the glories of his grandfathers, because just to show that what kind of a great dynasty that Maharaj Parikshit actually comes from. So he discusses about how Yudhishthira Maharaj, he was, his rule was, and how did he retire, which part of that we discussed about how Dhritarashtra, he quit home. Now we are going to see how the Pandavas, they quit home, and eventually Maharaj Parikshit getting coronated, and it will go on to Maharaj Parikshit confronting the personality of Kali and all that. That's the whole of Canto 1. So this particular chapter, which comes right after Dhritarashtra quits home, Dhritarashtra has finally quitted home. So this is divided into 7 sections. The first one is Maharaj Yudhishthir suspecting the disappearance of Lord Shri Krishna for many reasons, and the particular section that we are looking at is from verse 11 to verse 20. We are at verse 14, where many bad omens appear, and in the next section, Maharaj Yudhishthir suspects that Lord Shri Krishna might have left, and it is supplemented by the arrival of Arjun, who has been missing for 7 months, about 7 months, when he went to see Lord Krishna in Dwarka. Then Maharaj Yudhishthir, instead of directly asking that, has something happened to Krishna, which would be very insensitive. So he starts asking first about the welfare of the Yadu dynasty, even though he knows that something is wrong, something doesn't look right. And then he goes on to glorifying, Lord Shri Krishna and his influences. And in the next section, he talks about, okay, Arjun still is not answering. Something seems really, really off about him. So he starts asking, are you well? Why are you not, your face is pale, something is wrong. So tell me, are you okay? Has something bad happened to you? Then finally, he directly asks that, okay, there is only one possibility which has made Arjun behave in this way. So I'm going to directly ask, has Lord Krishna left the world? So that's how this chapter goes. So the discussions I'm going to talk about the references. These are from His Grace Balram Shakti Das. There were two different Bhagavatam classes he gave at ISKCON Chowpatty, one on 28th May 2024 and another one 2 years back. And some of the discussions from the Chaitanya Charitamrita course and another course named Qualifications to Hear Krishna's Pastime, which is based on a book called Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani that's written by His Holiness Shivaram Swami Maharaj. So all the slides I'm showing, these are all Balaram Shakti Prabhu's work. I am just copying them over and kind of summarizing, putting them in order and presenting my understanding. That's it. Okay, so the topic for today's discussion is pure devotion of the Pandavas from the point of view of Bhagavatam. So I picked this topic because there is no purport. It's just storyline, and it's very difficult to discuss any philosophy. I'm not mature enough to kind of give my own purport from these verses. And many devotees in the previous weeks, they have already presented their understandings and elaborately discussed about the bad omens and all. So I thought, let me discuss something different. So I'm just going to discuss about how to understand the storylines in Bhagavatam in general, and what makes these pastimes nourish our bhakti, and how to understand them and how not to understand them. Okay. Because the point of view of Bhagavatam, this particular thing, it's really, really important, because the Bhagavatam, the stories of the Pandavas, it's not like it just appears in Bhagavatam. Elaborately it appears in Mahabharata and many other Puranas. So what makes Bhagavatam's point of view very unique? So that's what we are going to discuss in detail today. Okay. All right. So first, before discussing the glories of the point of view of Bhagavatam, let's just discuss the glories of Bhagavatam itself. Okay, himself, Bhagavatam is a person. So Bhagavatam, the third verse says that Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam Shukamukhat amrita drava sanyutam vivata bhagavatam rasamalayam muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha. O knowers of rasa, O fortunate souls, constantly drink from the mouth of Shukadev the Bhagavatam, the fruit of the tree of the Vedas, which has dropped from the tree to this earth, Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam, which is immortal liquid, which is the essence of sweetness and which includes all types of liberations. So here, Vyasadeva, he's writing this verse and he's telling that, Bhagavatam is like the fully ripened tree from the tree of the Vedas. And the Acharyas explain in the commentaries that, this particular fruit is like fully edible. There is no part of the fruit, like the skin or the seed, which is not edible. And it is the fully ripened tree that is the essence of the entire Vedic scripture. That is Srimad Bhagavatam. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says it is Amala Puran. That is Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam. And what makes Srimad Bhagavatam so special to us as Gaudiya Vaishnavas? Here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says to Sanatana Goswami in Sanatana Siksha, Sadhu Sankanama Kirtan Bhagavata Shravan Mathura Vasa Shri Murtir Shraddhaya Sevan. So, Sadhu Sangha, that's association with the devotees. Nama Kirtan, that's chanting the holy name. Bhagavata Shravan, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. And Mathura Vas, residing at Mathura, and Shri Murtir Shraddhaya Sevana, that is worshipping deity with faith and veneration. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that these 5 limbs, many of us know this thing, that these are most potent limbs of bhakti, and one of that limb is hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. So Rupa Goswami, he elaborates upon this in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that how glorious these 5 angas are. He says, दुरुहाद्भुत वीर्येऽस्मिन् श्रद्धा दूरे स्तु पंचके यत्र स्वल्पोऽपि सम्बन्धः सद्दियां भावजन्मने. So these last 5 items, panchake, duruha adbhuta virye, have inconceivable and astonishing power. And then asmin shraddha dure astu. And what to speak of having faith in these items? Like shraddha to dur ki baat hai. Like, doing these with faith is it's one thing. But even if somebody has a little relation, yatra swalpa api sambandha, a person who is devoid of offenses can attain the level of bhava janmane. Like even doing these things, not with much faith also, if somebody does it without offenses, it can take one up to the level of bhava. So that is the potent of all these 5 most important limbs of bhakti. And we are all doing, right? As practicing devotees, we regularly hear Srimad Bhagavatam, we try to study, and attending these Bhagavatam classes, and these are one of those. It's the most powerful limb of bhakti. But Rupa Goswami, he gives more context into what exactly makes this hearing Bhagavatam most potent. So he says that it is Srimad Bhagavata Artha Asvadaha Rasikaihi Saha. So it's Srimad Bhagavata Artha Asvadaha. That means relishing Srimad Bhagavatam. Artha Asvadaha, that is relishing the Bhagavatam with who? In the association of like-minded devotees. Rasikaihi Saha. So this relishing Bhagavatam, not just hearing Bhagavatam, not just reading Bhagavatam, relishing Bhagavatam in association of like-minded devotees, that's what makes it the most potent limb of bhakti. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about the relishing Bhagavatam part. I think the association of like-minded devotees, the relishing and the association of like-minded devotees, that's a topic on its own. So I just thought that, okay, let's just explore this Artha Asvada section. Okay, so what does it mean, relishing Bhagavatam? To explain this, I'm taking some section from this book named Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani. It's written by His Holiness Shivaram Swami Maharaj. This book, in the initial sections, he talks about, it's like a summary study of Madhurya Kadamani in the eastern section of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, where he talks about, the different stages of Bhakti and Sadhana Bhakti and all that. But the main reason and the main portion of this book is dedicated to the topics on the qualifications to hear Krishna's pastimes. Okay, what are the different types of pastimes? What are the different types of qualifications? When does one get these qualifications? And what happens if somebody hears with the appropriate qualification? And what happens if somebody who is not qualified hears certain pastimes? So he goes into details about all this. But in this, he talks about, the truths of Krishna's, knowing the truths of Krishna's pastime, where he talks about relishing Bhagavatam, what exactly it means. So let's just read through. As Srila Prabhupada instructs, devotees should continue to hear according to their qualification and have full confidence that such hearing, including an appropriate hearing of Krishna's pastimes, will guide them to perfection. That is, we should have faith that, hearing with appropriate qualification, the right pastimes, it will guide us to perfection. But they should also bear in mind that appropriate hearing implies that the essential truths of the underlying these pastimes be included in the discussion as well as the constituents of these pastimes. So it's not just hearing the pastimes alone. One should understand the siddhanta behind the pastimes. So Krishna's pastimes in particular, they are the most mundane looking pastimes of all of the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? It's like Krishna's Bali Leela. This is like a child going and stealing butter and playing with kids and youth, playing with the young girls and all that. So it just looks so mundane. It's so mundane looking. And that is why it is extremely important, especially in Lord Krishna's pastimes, to understand the underlying truth. So here Maharaj is saying that one should understand the essential truths along with the pastimes themselves. That that we should have in mind. By constituents of these pastimes, what he means is Krishna, his associates, Parikara, their loving exchanges, Prema, the places where exchanges take place, Dham, the moods of love, Bhav, expressed, and the themes of exchanges, Leela. So all these aspects have to be understood clearly. Okay, so then Maharaj goes, when Krishna's pastime potency combines these ingredients, his occasional and eternal pastimes become manifest. That is, his Nitya Naimitika Leela, they manifest when these ingredients combine. Mature faith qualifies devotees to hear about and taste the Lord's pastimes, but faith only matures as devotees become increasingly realized in the truths of the ultimate goal of life, Prayojan. That is, when we know more about the Prayojan, our faith develops, and the more faith, as the faith matures, we become more and more qualified to hear these and taste the Lord's pastimes. Although Krishna's devotees relish his pastimes just by hearing them, this relish increases the more they know the truths behind the various ingredients of the pastimes. So as and when one realizes these various truths, we are able to relish these pastimes more and more. Okay, so knowledge of many truths underlying Krishna's pastimes is a theme woven into all revealed scriptures. So this theme of the underlying truth of Krishna's pastime, that is there across all the scriptures. So Chaitanya Charitamrita goes on to detail these truths as the foundation of Krishna consciousness. Krishna Tattva, Bhakti Tattva, Prema Tattva, Sar, Bhava Tattva, Rasa Tattva, Leela Tattva, Ar. So Krishna consciousness means understanding the truth of Krishna, the truth of devotional service, the truth of love of Godhead, the truth of emotional ecstasy, the truth of transcendental mellows, and the truth of pastimes of the Lord. So the 6 items: Krishna Tattva, Bhakti Tattva, Prema Tattva, Bhava Tattva, Rasa Tattva, Leela Tattva. So all these have to be understood fully. So Maharaj is saying that this is, according to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is how to understand Krishna's pastimes. Yeah. So here, Indian Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when traveling through India or staying at Puri, preached both the truths of the pastimes and the truth of the mellows described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Essentially, Krishna and Srimad Bhagavatam are identical. For Srimad Bhagavatam, like the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, is the Lord's sound incarnation. Therefore, the truths underlying Krishna's pastimes are as much Krishna as are the pastimes themselves. And again, to fully relish Srimad Bhagavatam and other authorized books about Krishna, the truth underlying his pastimes should be heard along with the pastimes themselves. This is complete and the authorized process. So again, the same conclusion, that one should understand the Krishna Tattva, Bhakti Tattva, Prema Tattva, Bhava Tattva, Rasa Tattva, Leela Tattva in order to fully relish Srimad Bhagavatam and other authorized books on Lord Krishna. Okay. So I think at this point we should be having a fair understanding on what exactly this relishing Srimad Bhagavatam means. But there is a slight complication in this, which is here Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Krishna Tulya Bhagavata Vibhu Sarvashrai Prati Shloke Prati Akshare Nana Artha Koi. So Srimad Bhagavatam is as great as Krishna, the Supreme Lord, and shelter of everything. In each and every verse of Srimad Bhagavatam and each and every syllable, Prati Shloke, Prati Akshare, there are various meanings, Nana Arthakoi. So there are, each and every verse can have many meanings. Each and every syllable can have many meanings. And our acharyas, if you see the commentaries of acharyas, there are differences between the explanations of one acharya versus another. Which we rely on Acharya's explanations to understand the pastimes better. So without having the right qualification, we could end up taking the wrong lesson from the pastimes. So this is why we rely on Acharya's commentaries to understand the verses, instead of just reading the verses and trying to understand the meaning ourselves, which I'm pretty sure all of the devotees agree. So Bhagavatam itself says, why it becomes sometimes very complicated to understand Bhagavatam, because in I think the second verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary, he says that Bhagavatam also functions as Mohini Murti, where it hides the truth from unqualified people. So here in this verse, Bhagavatam says, Maya Javanika Channam Ajadokshajam avyayam na lakshayase mura drisha nato natyadharo yata. Being beyond the range of limited sense perception, you are eternally irreproachable factor, covered by the curtain of the deluding energy, Maya, covered by Maya. You are invisible to the foolish observer, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. So just like an actor who is fully dressed up is not recognized, just like that, Krishna's pastimes, they are covered by Maya. Now, why I'm telling all this, and we started with the discussion, that point of view of Bhagavatam and the pure devotion of Pandavas. I'm telling all this because I'm trying to get an answer for this question: should we learn Mahabharata to understand the pastimes in Bhagavatam properly? Okay, so we saw the glories of Bhagavatam, how to relish them, and how one could misunderstand, because the pastimes are covered in a way, and there are many meanings for each and every verse, each and every syllables of Bhagavatam. And one of the common misunderstanding, or the trap that could be there, possible trap, is from looking at the pastimes of Bhagavatam from the point of view of Mahabharata. So this is what we are going to explore more in the next slides. Okay, so here this is a discussion between Vidurji and Maitreya Muni in the third canto. Paravareshaam bhagavan vratani shrutani me vyasa mukad abhikshanam atrupnuma kshulla sukavahanam tesham rite krishna katamritaugat. Great person, Bhagavan, I have heard repeatedly of the various natures of high and low persons from the mouth of Vyasadeva. I have been satiated with hearing about those natures which give insignificant happiness, being devoid of the great sweetness of Krishna's pastimes. So here he's talking about how he's satiated with the various natures of high and low persons. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in the commentary, he says that, okay, he's talking about Mahabharata. You have heard Mahabharata, right? So now what? Is it not enough? Like that, Maitreya Muni could present a question, and he's saying that he's fully satiated with the knowledge of mundane social and political topics and have no more interest in them. He was anxious to hear transcendental topics regarding Lord Sri Krishna, because there were insufficient topics directly concerning Krishna in the Puranas, Mahabharata, etc. He was not satisfied and wanted to know more about Krishna. Narada Muni's instruction to Vyasadeva is that write Srimad Bhagavatam, which has the Krishna's glories repeated consistently, not like here Krishna is glorified and after that some other topic is going on. So Mahabharata in particular, Krishna is actually a second character, because the heroes of Mahabharata is the Pandavas, and some of the pastimes in Mahabharata could be really confusing. One of that is Parikshit Maharaj. He towards the end he was fearful of his death, but we know that as a pure devotee, as a eternal associate, he was not at all afraid. He was fully Krishna conscious when he left the body, in the very end of Mahabharata, it is said that the Pandavas had to go to hell. They had to visit hell, not really suffer in hell, but at least it is mentioned that they had to go to hell. But how could this be possible? We know from Bhagavatam that Ajamil, who unintentionally chanted the holy name of the Lord, he was saved from going to hell. How could pure devotees of Lord Sri Krishna, for the quote-unquote sins they committed, they had to visit hell? So it doesn't make any sense, right? Is one of these wrong? Are both of those correct? How could both be correct? So these are some of the questions which we could have looking at the pastimes from the point of view of Mahabharata. So let's see how to answer this question. So first we will compare the perspective of Srimad Bhagavatam compared to literatures like Mahabharata. Okay, so that's I have a like a chart here. We'll go through that. So here there are 4 books. The first one is Mahabharata, and next one is Bhagavad Gita, then Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. And we are going to look into first what each of these scriptures, what is the ultimate conclusion of these scriptures, what is the common recommendation, then what is the concession that is given in these books, and what these scriptures rejects. Okay, Srila Prabhupada oftentimes says that one should start from Bhagavad Gita, then move on to Srimad Bhagavatam, then move on to Chaitanya Charitamrita. I'm sure you would all have heard this. So it is said that Mahabharata is like the school education, then Bhagavad Gita is like on the undergraduate level, then Bhagavatam is like postgraduate, masters or something, and then Chaitanya Charitamrita is like the PhD level. Okay, so what does Mahabharata's ultimate conclusion is, which is achieving mukti, that too through the gradual path of Varnashram Dharma. Follow your Varnashram Dharma, perfect it, then you slowly go to the stage of Gyan, then in best case you achieve Sayuja Mukti. So what is the common recommendation? That is, follow Varnashram Dharma, live a pious life, do not commit any sins, and you get a lot of piety and you can achieve Swarga. So this is what most people understand the teachings of Mahabharata to be. Do not commit any sins. And then concession is that follow Varnashram Dharma. That is, do not leave Varnashram Dharma even if you're not doing extraordinarily well, you still follow, and because that way you can avoid sinful reactions and you get better life in the next body. And what does it reject? It is sinful life, which is no matter who you are, no matter whether you are as great as Parikshit Maharaj or as great as the Pandavas, you still have to suffer for all the sins that you have committed. That's what Mahabharata says. There is no way that people can get away from the reactions of karma. Okay. So now let's go to Bhagavad Gita. What is the ultimate conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, which is Shuddha Bhakti? We all know this. Manmana Bhava Mat Bhakto and Sarvadharman Parityaja. All these says that the ultimate conclusion of Bhagavad Gita is Shuddha Bhakti. Now, what is the common recommendation, which is Pradhanibhuta Bhakti? Common recommendation is like, Krishna says, Yad Karoshi, Yad Ashnashi, Yad Juhosi, Tadayat. It's like, whatever you do it as an offering to me, where bhakti is predominant. Then the concession is Gunibhuta Bhakti, where you perform at least Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. These things have bhakti as the secondary limb, not the primary limb. Here 2.47, that's one of the examples. Karmani evadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachit, where Krishna is talking to Arjun as a Nishkama Karma Yogi, where you perform your Varnashram Dharma, but don't be attached to the fruits of the those activities. Just offer the fruits to me. And the other sections are like 6.46, which is tapasvibhyo adhiko yogi, that is become a tapasvi, ashtanga yogi, Arjun. Like that, here he recommends that Gunibhuta Bhakti. That's okay. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. But the ultimate conclusion, we all know that is Shuddha Bhakti. What is Bhagavad Gita rejects? Which is demigod worship, which is completely not at all acceptable in Bhagavad Gita. So yajanti havidi purvakam. Krishna says that worshipping the demigods, that's like worshipping him, but in the wrong way. That's the conclusion from Bhagavad Gita. Let's see what Srimad Bhagavatam says. The ultimate conclusion of Srimad Bhagavatam is Praja Bhakti. There are many verses. One of the verses from the 10th canto, 47th chapter, where Uddhavaji, who is considered to be the greatest of the devotees outside of Vrindavan, he says, Asamaho charana reno jushamaham istyam Vrindavane kim api gulma lataushadinam. So he's praying that he be born as a bush or a creeper outside of Vrindavan, so that sometimes when the gopis come, he could get the dust from their lotus feet. Like that, he's praying because he considers the Praja Bhakti to be the most superior form of bhakti. So what is the common recommendation of Srimad Bhagavatam? It is other forms of Shuddha Bhakti. That is savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adokshaje ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. So here Srimad Bhagavatam recommends that there is the highest occupation of a human life is to perform Shuddha Bhakti, which is ahaituki apratigata, unmotivated, uninterpreted, pure devotional service. And there are other verses like Kapila Dev's instruction to Mother Devahuti, Devanam Gunalinganam Anushravika Karmanam Sattva Evaikya Manaso Vritti Svabhaviki Tuya Animitta Bhagavati Bhakti Siddher Gariyasi. So this particular verse actually maps exactly to Srila Rupa Goswami's Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. We'll see that in some other time. So basically he talks about how bhakti to the Supreme Lord without any contamination of karma, jnana, all that. That is the highest form of devotional service. So here the common recommendation of Srimad Bhagavatam is Shuddha Bhakti. So what is the concession given by Srimad Bhagavatam? It is Pradhanibhuta Bhakti. That is verses like akama sarvakamo va mokshakama udaradihi tivirena bhakti yogena yajete purusham param. That is, even if you have other desires, at least perform jnana karmadi anavrita bhakti. That is, it's okay. I understand that the highest goal is to not leave all the material desires. You consider them to be goals, not as anarthas. You consider them to be something you need to perform bhakti, that's fine, but still perform jnana karmati anavrita bhakti. Okay, that is the concession given by Srimad Bhagavatam. And what does it reject? Which is any other forms of karma, jnana, yoga, ashtanga, gunibhuta bhakti. Basically, it rejects gunibhuta bhaktis. Etavan eva jatam iha nishreya shodaya bhagavati achalo bhavo yat bhagavata sangataka. So in this verse it is said that no matter which personality you are worshipping, if you want the highest benefit, the only way to get it is through pure devotional service, and that is only possible through the association of devotees, bhagavata sangatah. So now we saw what is the ultimate conclusion of Bhagavatam, which is Braja Bhakti. Common recommendation is other forms of Shuddha Bhakti. Concession is Pradhanibhuta Bhakti. At least do Jnana Karma Dhyana Vitta Bhakti, even though you have other material desires. Finally, what it rejects is Gunibhuta Bhakti. That is, the very second verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, Dharmaga Projita Kaitavatra Paramo Nirmat Saranam Satam. Anything which deviates one from achieving the highest goal, Bhagavatam kicks it out. Now let's see what Chaitanya Charitamrita says. Okay. Ultimate conclusion of Chaitanya Charitamrita is Madhurya Rasa. In the very first chapter, it is said, Anarpita Charinchiram Karunaya Vatirana Kalau. So in this verse, the very final the conclusion is Unnata Ujjvala Rasam, which is the love in the hearts of the gopis. That is the highest form of love that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give, that which has never been given before. So what is the common recommendation of Chaitanya Charitamrita? That is Braja Bhakti. Prema Rasa Niryasa Karite Aswadan Raga Marga Bhakti Loke Karite Pracharan. That is Raga Marga Bhakti Loke, Raga Bhakti. That is the common recommendation in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Braja Bhakti. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give. And what is the concession given in Chaitanya Charitamrita? That is other forms of Shuddha Bhakti. Not any other lower forms. It is other forms of Shuddha Bhakti is the bare concession given in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where the discussion between Ramananda Rai and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where he presents that what is the highest goal of life. He says Varnashram Dharma, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says Eho Bhakya Ahe Kaha, or this is external, just keep going. Then he presents impersonal liberation, then Sarvadharman Parityaja, and then he finally says Prema. At that point Mahaprabhu says that Eho Hoy, this is okay, but Ahe Kaha, or keep going ahead. So like that, this is the bare minimum concession that Chaitanya Charitamrita gives. So now what is the finally what does Chaitanya Charitamrita reject? Which is anything less than Shuddha Bhakti. We don't even start the conversation in Chaitanya Charitamrita if one doesn't consider Shuddha Bhakti to be the ultimate goal. Even Pradhanibhuta Bhakti, go away. That's the thing that Chaitanya Charitamrita rejects. Okay, so why I'm going through this chart is, if we see what is rejected by Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's actually a concession in Bhagavatam, right here. And what is the highest recommendation? The conclusion is actually the common recommendation in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And let's take one level lower. What is the ultimate conclusion of Bhagavad Gita? That is actually the common recommendation in Bhagavatam. So you see that there is like a sideways movement. And similarly, what is the concession given in concession? My pen is not working properly. Concession given in Bhagavatam is actually the common recommendation given in Bhagavad Gita. And what is rejected by Bhagavatam, Karma Jnana Yoga, it's actually a concession given in Bhagavad Gita. And if you see, it's like the essence of Bhagavad Gita, it is more refined in Bhagavatam, and the essence of Bhagavatam is more refined in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And none of this kind of fit with Mahabharata. Okay, so that's why it is my understanding is that it's not I understand I'm not sharing the popular opinion here. People can always say that there are many pastimes of Lord Shri Krishna, and the Pandavas in the Mahabharata. Shouldn't we understand Mahabharata properly? Actually, this is like saying that, okay, I'm going to marry a doctor, and I want to understand what kind of person he is. So I'm going to watch the CCTV camera of the doctor's office where he works all the time. So the point of view that CCTV camera will be showing is how the doctor behaves at office, not how he behaves at home. So that is exactly what Mahabharata is. It's like a drama performed by Krishna and his eternal associates for the purpose of educating common people about how to live a dharmic life. It doesn't necessarily fit with our sampradaya's mood, which is the ultimate conclusion is Madhurya Rasa and Rajabhakti. So one could think that this is Shastra Ninda, Shruti Shastra Ninda. I'm kind of putting Mahabharata down, but no, I'm please don't take me wrong. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm talking about the qualifications. That is that if one has a particular qualification, then what kind of scriptures one should read. Because let's say a person has physics exam in the first year of undergrad, but instead of studying the first year physics book, they are saying that I am very much interested in the first standard science book because the images, colorful images and the pictures and the text is very beautiful in the first standard science book. That's actually violence if somebody does that, because their qualification is to study the first year physics book, not first standard science book, because the qualification is different. That's what we are trying to say here, that the qualification that one has, if one has taken up to the path of devotional service as the goal of their life, pure devotional service as a goal of their life, then Mahabharata is not going to relish that. And that's why our acharyas, they don't have commentary on Mahabharata. And but there could be a counter argument that okay, some of our acharyas do quote from Mahabharata, right? Then shouldn't we read those scriptures? Our acharyas do comment from Mahabharata and many other Puranas. Does it give permission to go and read those scriptures ourselves? So there is this verse from Shat Goswami Ashtakam, Nana Shastra Vicharanakya Nipunau Saddharma Samstapakav. So our acharyas, they are Nana Shastra Vicharanakya Nipunau. They are experts in scrutinizingly studying the scriptures. It is said that the Vedic scriptures, they are like a tapestry of a beautiful image, which has many threads which represent, like the pure devotional service and Varnashram, Dharma, Karma, Jnana, all that. But our acharyas are so experts in picking out the pure devotional part of the scriptures and presenting it. But we may not have that qualification or the expertise in understanding the scriptures, and one could easily get confused. That's the risk. And even though the understanding is that the stories in Mahabharata is like midday sun, anybody can read and understand that, but the risk is we need Acharya's commentaries to understand even verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. If you remember from Govardhan Leela, Krishna says that do not perform worship to Indra. He just straight away speaks karma mimamsa. It's like what is supposed to be, one is supposed to get it because of the karma, they will get it regardless of whether you do or not. And our acharyas comment that no, this is Krishna is saying in a sarcastic way because to anger Indra. This is not what he actually is preaching. So we need acharyas commentaries to even understand verses from Bhagavatam. Now, what to say about Mahabharata? Now, another understanding is like Mahabharata is for living and Bhagavatam is for living. It looks very rhyming, but ultimately says who? Our Acharya says that no. Even the very beginning of Bhagavatam, the questions asked by the sages, they asked that what should be done while living and what should be done at the time of leaving. Parishit Maharaj, he asked this question. So Bhagavatam has teachings both for how to live the life and as well as how to leave the body. Okay, now, one can say that I agree with you, Prabhu. That's all fine. But there is a risk in your own chart that you showed. You said that Prabhupada said, read from Bhagavad Gita, then go to Bhagavatam, then Chaitanya Charitamrita. But in Bhagavad Gita, we know that there are discussions about, Gunibhuta Bhakti, Pradhanibhukta Bhakti, but our ultimate goal is Shuddha Bhakti, right? So what if somebody just takes any of these verses and then misunderstand? Actually, that's a very good question. And this is where the beauty of Srila Prabhupada's Bhaktivedanta purport comes in. Because Srila Prabhupada, he takes the ultimate conclusion of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Praja Bhakti, or Shuddha Bhakti. He takes that and inserts it into the commentary of Bhagavad Gita as it is. And sometimes even in the verse translation itself. That's why you see when Srila Prabhupada translates The verses from Karma, Jnana, Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana, Ashtanga Yoga, all that, he always says about Bhakti, 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 because he's putting the sieve, the filter of the conclusion of Chaitanya Charitamrita, and he applies it directly at the verse translation itself in Bhagavad Gita. And that, when you know what Srila Prabhupada has done, there is no way other than to just fall in love with Srila Prabhupada, because he's trying to protect us as a loving father, to not deviate into any of the misunderstandings, and then keep our focus right in Shuddha Bhakti. Okay, so this is one of the examples from Bhagavad Gita. We all remember this verse 1.41. Just go through the translation. So here Arjuna is saying that if he kills the people in this war, then the family tradition will be lost, and because of that, the performance for offering them food and water will be entirely stopped, which is Lupta Pindodaka Kriya. That is the Pindadan kind of thing. That family tradition will be lost. So what will happen, Krishna? So this is that translation that Srila Prabhupada has written. Let's see what Srila Prabhupada says in the purport. Okay, so here, see the very first line. According to the rules and regulations of fruitive activities. What does fruitive activities means? That is the Sakama Karma Yoga. There is a need to perform periodical food and water to the forefathers of the family, to offer these things. This offering is performed by worship of Vishnu, because eating the remnants of the food offered to Vishnu can deliver one from all kinds of sinful reactions. Sometimes the forefathers may be suffering from various types of sinful reactions, and sometimes some of them cannot even acquire a gross material body and are forced to remain in subtle bodies as ghosts. Thus, when remnants of prasadam food are offered to the forefathers by descendants, the forefathers are released from ghostly or other kinds of miserable life. So at this point, one can think that, oh, okay, it looks like we can offer Vishnu Prasad to the forefathers, and that is very good, because if they are stuck as ghosts, or because of sinful reactions, this will help. But Srila Prabhupada says, such help rendered to forefathers is a family tradition. It's a family tradition, and those who are not in devotional service are required to perform such rituals. One who is engaged in devotional life is not required to perform such actions. One who is engaged in devotional service, what they have to do? They don't have to perform these things. So this is the conclusion of Chaitanya Charitamrita, which Srila Prabhupada is putting where? In the very first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. He didn't wait till the Bhakti section starts. No, this is right in the beginning. This is the understanding that devotees should have. Simply by performing devotional service, one can deliver hundreds and thousands of forefathers from all kinds of miseries. Then he goes on to give the proof from Bhagavatam, Devashi Bhutanam Niranam Pratanam, where one who has taken to devotional service, they do not have any debt to Deva, Rishi, Bhuta, Apta, Pitra, everybody. So what we are trying to say is that if one has taken up to devotional service, then none of these is needed, and that does not mean that one is not thankful or not showing gratitude to the forefathers. We are grateful to the forefathers, because they have given us all that what we have, but the way in which we devotees express our gratitude is by performing devotional service properly, not to offer things separately. So that's the way that is recommended for us. That's the qualification we have. We don't have to step down to the lower qualification and perform these things. So this is the conclusion of Chaitanya Charitamrita, with Srila Prabhupada is putting right in the purport of the very first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, all right. So now, so at this point, I've presented my understanding on how Mahabharata, the point of view of Mahabharata, is incompatible with the conclusions of Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. Now let's take like a case study of the difference of emotions shown by Arjun in Bhagavad Gita versus in Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. All right. We are changing theme here, so I'm just taking a pause. Okay. So this is the verse from, again, first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where I'll just go through the translation alone. So Arjun says that, looking at his relatives who are ready to fight with him, he feels that limbs of his body, they are quivering, and his mouth is drying up, and the whole body is trembling. His hair is standing on the end, and his gandiva is slipping from hand, and his skin is burning. All this looks like classic panic attack. He's going through a panic attack, which are symptom of extreme level of attachment. It's generally it happens to people because of Rajoguna. Rajoguna is an expression of it originates from material mode of passion, and it looks like it's going into Tamogun while he's going through all these bodily changes. It looks like that, right? Actually, none of the 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita is a direct instruction to Arjun. None of the verses actually can be used to understand the adhikara, the qualification of Arjun. He expresses so many different things, like he's confused about what to do, what Krishna said in many areas. Here Krishna continuously says to Arjun that fight, but at various chapters he switches his adhikar. In the very beginning, Krishna says that fight Arjun, hatova prapsasi. In this he says that if you fight, you get kingdom. If you lose, then you get swarga. There is nothing to lose, Arjun. So he's talking to like a karma yogi, sakam karma yogi. And then in the next section, he talks about karmani eva adhikariste ma phaleshu kadachi. In this, he is talking to Arjun as a nishkama karma yogi, where Arjun has raised up his qualification in the sense that, okay, Arjun, now do your fight, but do not be attached to the results, just offer the results to me. And then later he goes on to say sannyasa karma yogascha. Arjun, you have come to the stage of jnana, but don't leave karma. Do the vanashram duties, that is the prescribed duty for you is fighting. Do that, but with complete detachment, internal detachment at the level of jnana. So do it. And then he goes on to say tasmad yogi bhava Arjuna, which is ashtanga yogi is the best, you be there like an ashtanga yogi. Then finally he says sarvadharman parityajya, abandon all varieties of religion and surrender unto me, which is an instruction to a practicing devotee. But we know that Arjun is not a practicing devotee, he is a eternal associate. So all these are actually creations of Maya. What Yoga Maya does is that she covers the identity of Arjun and puts him under similar kind of illusion, a confused state as what one experiences under the material mode of passion and ignorance. So this is what in Bhagavatam, Lord Narayan, he said, in the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam, it is said Riteyartham yat pratiyata na pratiyata chatmani, which is Maya covers, whether it is Yoga Maya or Mahamaya, it covers what is reveals what is not true and covers what is true. So that is one of the functions of Maya. So Krishna uses Arjun as a tool, like a template to instruct people of different adhikars. So this is similar to how Parikshit Maharaj, when he garlanded Shamikya Rishi with a snake, because he was, again, Yoga Maya, she covered Parikshit Maharaj's knowledge so that the Bhagavatam comes out. That is the function of Yoga Maya, to facilitate the pastimes of the Lord. Okay, so now that is from Bhagavad Gita. Let's see how Arjuna expresses his emotions in Bhagavatam. So here, this is from the very next chapter that we are going to start that in few days. So here Arjuna says, "O King, after Lord Krishna has left," here Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking that what happened Arjun, why are you not speaking, is everything okay? He says that finally he asks, is Krishna okay? At that point Arjun starts answering, my friend, the Lord has left me. He has taken with him my great power which astonished the Devatas. So Arjuna is saying that my friend has left, Lord has left, and he has taken all my power along with it. And then he says that just as dead person without life becomes repulsive, the world which is separate from Krishna even for a moment appears repulsive. So just like how when the soul leaves, the dead body becomes a repulsive thing, nobody wants to touch. Just like that, Krishna has left the world and the world has become repulsive. And then Arjun goes on to saying that because of Krishna's empowerment, I once Draupadi and her Swayamvar, I conquered Indra, Bhim defeated Jarasandha, Bhim killed 100 Kauravas, we were saved from the wrath of Durvasa, I could astonish Lord Shiva in fight, I could defeat the Kauravas, and so many things. All these he says that it's all because of Krishna's power, and he has gone, and it just looks like, oh my God, Arjuna is so much attached to all these not wealth, like the power and glory, but actually no, this is the true Arjun. This is the true Arjun. He is not covered by Yoga Maya. Well, Yoga Maya is covering Krishna from Arjun, but this is not Arjun. Arjuna is actually feeling the loss, the virah, separation from Krishna. This is true Arjuna. So he's saying that, O king, on remembering Madhava's joking words, splendid with smiles, charm, and eloquence, our conversations which touched the heart, while he addressed me as Partha, Arjun, friend, joy of the Kurus, my heart becomes agitated. So he's remembering the friendly conversation, because Arjun is in the Sakirasa. He has the friendly relation with the Lord, and he's remembering this and feeling great separation. He's appreciating the association of Krishna, not his empowerment, which made Arjun do all these great tasks. Okay. Then later on he goes to say, I, the warrior and the bow, the arrows, the chariot, and the horses, which made kings bow to me, have become powerless in a moment without the Lord. They are as fruitless as sacrificing ghee into ashes, or as immaterial as getting an illusory gift from a magician, or sowing the seeds in salty earth. So this is true Arjun. Basically, he's lamenting the separation of the Lord. This is the true identity of Arjun as a perfected or a pure eternal associate, not the similar emotion as what he was showing in Bhagavad Gita, which was under Yogamaya. Okay, so finally coming to the original question, which is Mahabharata, the perspective of Mahabharata needed for the practicing devotees? We'll try to understand this again from the His Holiness Yoram Swami Maharaj Shuddha Bhakti Chintani book. So this is from the chapter he titles Hearing with Impure Faith. Okay, this is for mixed devotees, in the sense that those who have their goal as material desires as their goals, along with devotional service. So Maharaj says that the Mahabharata is a good example of the type of literature the materialistic devotees should hear or read in order to gain illuminate faith. So the materialistic devotees, the context one should understand, this is not talking about those who are practicing for prema, those who are performing devotional service with prema as their goal. Okay, Srila Prabhupada often refers to women, the laborer class, the fallen members of the high classes, Shri, Stri, Shudra, Dvijabandhus, as persons who lack qualifications to understand Srimad Bhagavatam in truth. No one should feel offended by this grouping, because today more or less everyone in this world fits into one of these three categories. Virtually everyone labors under the false conception of the body as the self. Attracted by mundane histories, philanthropy, and adventure, hardly anyone is interested in transcendental subject matter. Srila Prabhupada writes, such misguided persons could take advantage of the Mahabharata, which was specifically compiled by Srila Vyasadeva for their benefit. The great author has compiled the Mahabharata in such a way that the less intelligent class of men who are more interested in mundane topics may read Mahabharata with great relish, and in the course of such mundane happiness can also take advantage of Bhagavad Gita, the preliminary study of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srila Prabhupada in this purport 3.5.12, he says that Mahabharata is designed in a way that less intelligent people, that means those who don't have devotional faith, they have attraction for the mundane politics and histories and all that, right? So they will be interested in reading Mahabharata, and in this way they will get introduced to Bhagavad Gita, and slowly they will get qualifications to study Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is the way Mahabharata is written, and this is what Srila Prabhupada is saying. So thus, by reading Mahabharata, fruitive devotees fulfill their propensity to hear mundane topics, but they do so in a way that purifies them by contact with Krishna, especially when they read the gem hidden in Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita. In this way, devotees become further qualified to inquire and enter into the more elevated topics of transcendence described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Should ISKCON devotees therefore read Mahabharata? Srila Prabhupada did not forbid it. Indeed, he expressed his desire to translate it himself. This is in a letter Maharaj has cited. But even if devotees choose not to read Mahabharata, the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam gives a summary of the book along with an explanation of the devotional essence of the Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, a careful study of the first canto qualifies devotees for further reading in Srimad Bhagavatam. So it is not like one should get the qualifications to read Srimad Bhagavatam by reading Mahabharata first. No. Because this is what we are saying, that Srila Prabhupada, he has taken the essence of the conclusion of Chaitanya Charitamrita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and he has put in the verses and translation of Bhagavad Gita. So that is enough. And if somebody feels that, okay, they still need more qualification, first kind of Srimad Bhagavatam is enough, because Srila Prabhupada talks about everything, and the pastime themselves, it covers all of this. So we saw the many tattvas, right? Prema tattva, rasa tattva, lila tattva, all that. None, I mean, there is no dharma tattva, which is what Mahabharata kind of portrays, and that's not the mood of our sampradaya. So yeah, so if at all somebody wants to know these pastimes, which is very interesting. I agree. These are extremely enticing stories in Mahabharata. If at all somebody is interested, it's better to listen from great Vaishnava devotees. Like last time when my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Rumpa Swami Maharaj visited, he went into the pastimes of personalities from Mahabharata, and he talked about how the devotional side of them is explained. And this is great. You hear from a Mahabhagat, you directly listen from their mouth, and that is better instead of venturing on your own, because there are, in Mahabharata there are chapter after chapter of how certain dharmic duties are extremely essential, and one can easily take the wrong lessons from them, and it could contaminate our pure devotional seed. That's the risk. And without the availability of our Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharya's commentaries, venturing on our own is an extreme risk. It's like angels tread where fools rush in. So with that, I would like to conclude. The conclusion is that Srimad Bhagavatam is Amala Puran and superior to all other scriptures, but developing the right mood and perspective to understand Bhagavatam will make the process of relishing Bhagavatam one of the most potent limb. And we saw how to understand and how not to understand. Okay, so I'll conclude my presentation now. It's 9 o'clock. So devotees, if you have any questions, comments, please feel free to add. Thank you.
Krishna Jaya Nitai Prabhu. Thank you for the nice summarization, the Shastras, and many important points you made.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just contemplating. I think the beauty of our Shastras is that one can, it's not just a vertical or descending process where reading CC highlights Madhura Ras and the love and separation in particular. That can also descend back down to help our understanding in Bhagavad Gita and looking at it as also Rasika literature, etc. Yeah. You brought out a lot of points, and I think one could speak about each of them in depth. But I liked your comparison and contrast of the various literatures, and underlying it is, of course, the intent of the reader that becomes apparent in your table. I'll give others a chance to reflect and ask questions or make comments. So, dear devotees, please go ahead. And thank you, Prabhu, for doing the research and also encapsulating it nicely. Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, please go ahead, and if you have questions or reflections, please share.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
This is very nice presentation, Prabhu. I really enjoyed the whole thing.
Thank you,
A very fresh perspective, or a very fresh way of presenting, and not just the presentation, but the content, that amount of time and study that you must have done to share these fresh concepts. I mean, the concepts are obviously in the Shastras, but the analysis and the whole presentation and the points that you brought out were very fresh to me, and I really enjoyed it. I think you should do more of this. So I am very happy and very looking forward to more such discussions. This is extremely refreshing and relishing, like you said in the beginning, very relishing. So I am
Thank you so much.
looking forward to more such discussions from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
This is a very wonderful class because you narrated very well Shuddha Bhakti, Pradhan Bhakti, and Bhaktis are there. Most of the devotees has to know that what is the Bhakti. It is very wonderful. I understand very well about the Krishna's disappearance and how Arjuna failed. And everybody has to be feel Krishna consciousness that is very important. They are also feeling very bad. Without Krishna, they cannot live. That is more important in this class. Anyhow, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
that's very nice. Thank you so much for sharing.
Hare Krishna, Nitai Prabhu. Wonderful lecture, as both Prabhu said.
Thank you.
Deep insights, and especially the matrix, the Shastra matrix is so nice to, and how you contemplated is very nice. Thank you very much for bringing a lot of insights. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much. Every other devotee noted such a wonderful information packed class. I really like the comparison study that you did between the different shastras, and it brought out a lot of important points. And also how you discussed about Arjuna's adhikar not coming out in Bhagavad Gita, but it is actually explained in Bhagavatam. Very, very nice, refreshing points, as Paramkan Prabhu said. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Please keep doing this.
Thank
For
you for
us,
that.
and yeah, thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Okay, I think it's lots of appreciation from the devotees and encouragement to you to continue your deep studies, hearing from senior devotees and contemplating the way you've been doing. Thank you very much for taking time in spite of your busy life with two very young and active little children. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the encouragements. That really helped me a lot. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Okay, so we'll stop here then.
Yes, Prabhuji.
And please come join for Sunday feast at 11:30 as usual. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Anchapatruvyasya krivosandabhyevata patitanam pavanabhyo vaishnav namaha. Namaha. Haribol.
Hare Krishna. We'll conclude the call.